Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, it's Bold Prediction Show. And I got to tell you, I kind of resent you not using my full legal name, reigning champion, Tom Orr. How you doing, Chief?
Oh, that's a deep cut from way back, Tom. It's bad enough that you're touting your one victory this year, and then you throw in a chief on top of it. By the end of the show, I'm going to have to come up with an old-timey Ohio State Buckeye for you to give me the year that he played. This is just a terrible way to start the show. But yes, it is our bold prediction show, as evidenced by our already contentious nature here on this episode. Last week's episode was bold predictions for the second half of the season, which I have won. Amazingly, I'm not amazing that I won, but that I've already won. So that feels good. We'll see how the second half goes. Tom, if the second half goes anything like the first half, I think the fans are going to enjoy it. And when I say fans, I don't mean our fans. I mean Buckeye fans, but also our fans.
Your fans may enjoy it more than my fans, but you probably have more fans than I do. So I guess that works out. We're just trying to keep the people happy. That's all we're doing here.
I'm just trying to keep me happy. So Tom, I will give you honors here if you want to go first on your first bold prediction so that I can already dispute it. All right, fire away.
All right. TreVeyon Henderson, 600 yards, 605 yards this year. Stephen Carr for Indiana, 439. I'm going to say TreVeyon Henderson has more than twice as many rushing yards as Stephen Carr in the game on Saturday.
Here's another one, Tom, where I agree it's going to happen. But also, the numbers are there. That, what are you talking, like 60, 2/3 of what TreVeyon Henderson has done. Stephen Carr and the Indiana running game is not good right now. What are they doing in the Big Ten? I don't think it's very good as I look quickly here and try to find enough evidence and data to dispute any inkling of anything you want to do. What do you got to say?
He's at about 73% of Henderson's production on the year total.
Okay.
I'm saying under 50% for this game.
And in the Big Ten, Tom, he has rushed for, let me tell you, Tom, 160 yards in 3 games. So that's going to put him right at about half of what TreVeyon Henderson is rushing in the Big Ten. So I'm saying, so that's like 53 yards a game in Big Ten for Stephen Carr. And TreVeyon Henderson in the Big Ten is, do you know, Tom?
I don't know. My internet is pulling it up very slowly.
I'll tell you. Versus conference, TreVeyon Henderson is rushing for, this can't be right, 62.67 yards per game because of that stinking Minnesota game. Taking out that Minnesota game because that doesn't count.
If we parse the sample down small enough and then also take out the pieces of it that don't help our case, yes, you can get whatever you want.
You know what? I'll let you go because he in his last 2 Big Ten games, he's rushed for 173 yards. And so more than twice. So if Stephen Carr rushes for 52 and TreVeyon Henderson rushes for 104, you've missed it.
Yes, but if the ball's kind of over the line and it's like, yeah, but it's really 102 and like a third there, like no, okay.
You said
more than twice as many rushing yards
more
as
than
Stephen Carr.
twice.
There you go. All right.
For Henderson, I'm taking notes because I don't want you to change this.
Because you want to be able to text me on the sideline during the game on Saturday.
Correct. Here's one time I'm going to tell it to you and you're like, no, absolutely not. And then I'm going to tell you why it's okay. Ohio State will have
absolutely not.
Will have a 40-yard completion in this game. Now you're saying, but they have those in every game.
They do have those in every game.
Well, here, let me tell you how many they have this season. They have in 4 games so far this season, they have 8. All right.
In 4 games this season, they've played 6 games.
In 6 games, they have 8. I don't know. I saw 4. They're 40 with the 4 and the 40. However, Tom, do you know how many 40-yard pass plays that Indiana has allowed this season?
I don't know. How many did Idaho get against them? I'm sure it was a lot. because Idaho and Ohio State are very much the same.
Indiana is the only team in the Big Ten and one of the only teams nationally to not allow a 40-yard pass this season. So that's why I think this is bold. I'm saying it hasn't happened in 6 games yet this season, so I'm going to say it happens in this game. It hasn't happened all year. Has never, ever happened this year.
You know what else Indiana hasn't done this year? Allow a 50-yard pass.
Let me check the numbers. That is true. So, Tom, I know you're trying to fight it, but they haven't done it yet. So I'm saying it's going to happen. Where are you?
I'm sitting at my computer, staring at the camera, wondering.
You're trying to find a way to argue this, but you can't.
They've had 6 of them in 8, or 8 of them in 6 games. They've had on average more than one of them per game. This seems like exactly the kind of thing that you'd be telling me. Like, yes, sure, Indiana hasn't done it, but they haven't played Ohio State yet. Yes, because Ohio State does this every week, sometimes more than once in a week. I will accept 50 yards.
You know what, Tom? Let me see. I knew you were going to go there, so let me just look to see how many 50-yard pass plays Ohio State has had in 6 games. And they're averaging, I don't want to even give it to you because you'll be like, oh, no. I'm not going to give you that information. They've had 6.
Okay.
I will go ahead and take 50, but man, if it's like 48, we're going to have to count it.
That's not how any of this works. Yes. 1 per game on average, and Indiana not having given up any this year. Like, okay, that's a little more bold. That's better. All right.
2-pointer?
No, come on. Did I hear 70 yards?
All right. What's your next one?
All right. The most Indiana has been outgained by this season is 1.23 yards per play. Ohio State more than doubles that and outgains Indiana by 2.5 yards per play.
Let me think about this because I think they're probably already doing that, aren't they?
They are doing that, yes. But as we just established, Indiana's defense is incredibly good. So everything Ohio State has done before has no bearing.
Tom, Ohio State is outgaining Indiana by 4 yards per play right now. You're saying they will do 1.5 yards fewer, less than that. That's your bold prediction to me?
Yes.
No, Tom, I can't allow this one. You didn't even know the 4-yard difference. You didn't think I would find out. You think I'm stupid.
Well, yes, but I didn't. That doesn't really have any bearing on this. I looked at it in terms of what Indiana had allowed and compared with that to. Would you accept tripled? That would be 3.75 yards per play.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
3.75 times yards per play. Square root. Okay. All right. That one is in the books. Now, Tom, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. I'm just going to say that each time. But since this has never happened before, that again, although you complain about the last one, a Buckeye scores his first touchdown of the year. Because all of the normal scoring scores have scored. So this is going to have to be like a G. Scott, a Cade Stover, a CJ Stroud on a keeper, a defender, an Emeka Egbuka.
That's what I was just going back to look. Has CJ Stroud scored a rushing touchdown? Because I think that's where you're going to get me here. However, I'm going to allow this one because we're far enough into the season, and this is not like Akron where they're going to be playing the third stringers, presumably. So
this is not game 2.
This is a bold prediction, even though I know exactly how I'm going to lose it, because CJ Stroud is going to score a rushing touchdown in this game. That's the one that's going to get me. And frankly, if I call that exact one, I should get like half of a point as well.
Make it a bold prediction.
Maybe that'll be my 2-pointer because then I'm being even more specific. I like it. I like that one. Because as soon as you started saying that, I thought, I wonder if CJ Stroud scored a rushing touchdown this year. And I was like, nope, there it is. That's the trapdoor. He just got that one.
Keep it. He'll keep it on. Keep the ball on a read and walk into the end zone, and everybody's going to be high fiving me. So I look forward to it.
All right, my next one. 5 of the first 6 Ohio State opponents have passed for more than 200 yards. Indiana finishes the game with less than 200 yards passing.
Here's the problem with that, Tom, is that Indiana is essentially throwing for how many yards per game? I'm going to tell you, 215 yards per game.
I assume they're going to be behind in this game and probably be leaning heavily on the pass.
That's a fair point. I will grant that. That is a fair point. Yeah, I can see that. But Jack Tuttle is not a very good quarterback. He's completing like 51% of his passes. So they're going to have to throw the ball like 80 times for 200 yards. So I'll tell you what. Just in the off chance this happens, I need 197, like less than 197, just because to make it fun for the people.
The best, yeah. What makes this fun is when you do stuff when it's just like, I know you're setting yourself up not just to win, but to be able to laugh and point after you win. When it's 198, that's fine. I will. It's just 3 yards. I will say 197 yards again. Going back to the last one, it's not just that I know I'm going to get this wrong. It's that I know exactly how I'm going to get this wrong. They're going to be at 180, and then he's going to throw like an 18-yard pass as time expires in a completely meaningless situation, and then it'll be 198. Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing this for me. I just want it would be fun for everybody. Like, even come on, listen, you're enjoying it, so that would be an enjoyable experience all around. I will accept that. Fewer than 197 yards passing for Indiana in that game, regulation only.
All right. Thank you for your benevolence. I'm putting that in there just in case. Just in case. All right.
Okay, good. Mine here is TreVeyon Henderson, because we always have to include him, will have at least 2 rushes of 20 yards in this game. Now, Tom, you're saying, but he has all kinds of rushes of 20 yards. He has had some. In fact, I will tell you exactly how many 20-yard rushes he has had this season. He has had 6. I am saying he will double this. And Tom, do you know how many 20-yard rushes Indiana has allowed this year as I look it up to tell you?
You know that he's only carried the ball 69 times. So just about 1 out of every 10 of his carries goes for 20 yards or more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing.
So, Tom, also Indiana has only allowed 1 per game.
Mm-hmm.
So you got this. He only rushes for 1 per game. You already said yourself, Tom, it's going to be a blowout. So he's not going to be running the ball. You can't give me the Indiana's going to be throwing a lot to catch up and take away and also think you're going to add in but he's going to carry the ball 25 times because it's a close game.
I didn't say it was going to be a close game. I'm saying you're going to be running the ball a lot.
So I am saying, Tom, 2 rushes of at least 20 yards in this game. Go ahead and tell me what is not acceptable and what I need to raise it to. Let's just, you know what? We don't have a lot of time.
Allow me to counter.
All right.
Instead of 2 rushes for 20, 3 rushes of 18 or more.
17, because he did that last week. The last game.
See,
3 rushes.
The way this works is you don't tell me when you're fleecing me.
No, I'm sorry. It's just, I feel so bad for you.
So 3 of 18, I think is fair.
Okay. 3 of 18, unless 2 of those go over 20, and then the 1 of 15 is enough.
I didn't actually get to, I think I just took media law in college. I didn't get to contract law. So I'm not sure I can actually draw up the legal document that we're going to need to have the
3
show.
carries totaling at least 54 yards.
Okay, so 3 of 18 or 20, 20, and 15. Okay, that's fine. You make sure you write that down exactly like that.
Oh, man. Let me get this notarized.
Yes, and it's going to
3
be
of
like
20 or 2. It's like, do you have your Kroger Plus card as well so that we can?
Now, if Saturn is in the southern sky, then 2 of those have to come in the first half.
Plus 1 of 15. Okay. All right. What do you got?
Okay. Since you love to make things extremely complicated, this is like being out to dinner. This is like being out to dinner with my wife, where she, has 17 changes to whatever she's ordering, and I'm like, just give me the hamburger, medium rare, like fine. 2 220, 220. We all know what it means at this point. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to continue betting on this horse until it hits for me. I believe it has only hit once this year, and that was the week that you picked it instead of me. 220 yards rushing for the Buckeyes, 220 yards passing for the Buckeyes in the same game. It has only happened once this year. And I just spiritually, I need this to happen for me at some point this year. And I'm going to keep riding this until it does.
Tom, you do need it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm not even going to argue with you because this has been your baby and you have not been allowed to hold your baby. You saw somebody leave the hospital with your baby. And now I fortunately dropped it off at the fire department for you. We'll see if they give it to you or not.
This is the Lindbergh baby of bold predictions. It's going to happen at some point.
The great part is if it doesn't happen this week, I am definitely using it next week. And if I'm the only one that is allowed to get this correct, that would be tremendous. Although doing it against Penn State would be pretty bold.
That would be pretty bold.
Against Indiana, not so bold, but it's your baby. I'm going to let you have this one. It's been a rough season for you in this 220. Hopefully everything goes well for you and you can brag about this one. So, and
if it hits, I'm definitely getting t-shirts printed up.
Just 220. That's my
It's just going to say 220/220. I'm just going to wear it with pride. And I don't have to get it in dry fit now that it's finally cooled off. So
there you go. Perfect. You can just take a marker to a sweatshirt.
My always classy partner, Tony Gerdeman. You're next. Go ahead.
All right. So here's mine. And you're probably going to want to argue about it. Steel chambers will have an impact play. Now, let me clarify what impact play means. That's tackle for loss, that's sack, that's interception, that's forced fumble, that's fumble recovery. One of those 5 things. So any tackle for loss or sack or a turnover. That's basically it. Be responsible for a turnover or a tackle for loss.
Since you're giving him literally everything other than, a tackle for not loss. Mm-hmm. If he does anything in the game other than tackle a guy downfield, you get this one. So I'm going to have to say I'm going to need at least 2.
Now here's the thing, Tom. Do you know how many tackles for loss he has this season?
I don't know, but I do remember sitting in a room with Al Washington yesterday when he was talking about how Steel Chambers can be playing a lot more. So I believe the subtext there was, so don't worry about what his stats were earlier in the year because he'll be playing a lot more. So those stats really have no bearing on what would be bold moving forward.
He has 2 tackles for loss on the year. One of those is a sack. So that really, he's got 2 tackles for loss in 6 games. Do you know how many touchdowns he has?
He has he's only played 5 games, but go on.
5? No, he's played 6 according to this list here.
Well, according to OhioStateBuckeyes.com, who seems like they would probably have a good idea.
Okay, so 5. 2 tackles for lost in 5 games. No fumbles forced. No fumbles recovered. No interceptions. He's done all of these things that I've encompassed, these 5 things. He's done one of them twice in 5 games. So you're telling me something he has not done only like 40% of once in 40% of the games, 20% of the time, that's not bold?
I was told there would be no math.
That really wasn't.
You make some good points there.
Mm-hmm.
1.5.
Oh, now
I'm
does that
literally asking you to meet me halfway here?
No, so that means
and 1 tackle for loss that also shows up as a sack. No, that is not those. I need 2 separate discrete events,
such as a fumble recovery and a half of tackle for loss. So like
yes. And now you could have a sack in which he strips the ball for the quarterback. Right. This could happen on the same play, but it has to be 2 separate events. It cannot be like you get it. Just so listeners understand, when you get a sack, you are also credited as a tackle for loss on that play. So that would not count. But a forced fumble on the sack would count as 2 separate discrete events.
Okay, yes. Even though, because all he has to do is knock that ball out of the quarterback's hand, and it's a sack and it's forced fumble. Boom, I'm good.
Correct. Yes. So if there is a strip sack or a strip tackle for loss, yes. Or if he gets a tackle for loss and then has an interception later, yes. Any of those would work for you.
And including an onside kick recovery?
I will not give you that, but I will give you a 1-point safety. If he scores on a 1-point safety, then yes, I will give you that.
Okay. I will accept the 1.5 because he should be playing more, and that's not really so much more. But it is an increase, and so I will accept it because I feel pretty good about it. And I don't know if I'll feel good about it after the game, but I feel fine now, so why not go with it?
All right, next one. My last 1-pointer. Ohio State's defense scores points. So either a touchdown or a safety.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about doing the same. So now Ohio State's defense, because I have a similar one that you're going to like for my 3-pointer on down the road. But so I kind of have to maybe give you this one. But Ohio State's defense has scored 5 of the 6 games this year and 4 of the last 4 straight.
Yes, they have had 4 straight games with a pick 6, and then they had the strip sack fumble that Haskell got returned against Minnesota. Now, that's one of those things where it's like, well, look, they've done it so many games in a row. It's like, well, it's not like a running back. These are like one-off events, kind of. They're not quite black swan events, but it's like a real one-off thing that, just it's not like a running back who's had 100-yard games over and over. Like it's a little more repeatable. These are just kind of, it's a little bit of a statistical anomaly that it's happened this often, but Indiana's quarterbacks have been fairly turnover prone. I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball real well. I think they're going to be playing from behind. You get in predictable passing situations. I think you're going to maybe have, an opportunity for a strip sack or an opportunity for a pick 6, something like that. So that's where I'm coming from here. And, if Steel Chambers gets the strip sack, then we both win.
I don't want us both to win, Tom. I want you to lose and me to win. I want one of us to win. That's how this works. Now, I will say Indiana has thrown 10 interceptions on the year. 8 of those have been returned for touchdowns.
Is that true?
No.
I was going to say, watching the Iowa game at the beginning of the year, it felt like that might actually be true.
See?
Like, yeah. But Michael Penix, I don't think my understanding is Michael Penix is not in line to play. Which, how many of those 10 interceptions were Michael Penix? Because it feels like about 9.5 of them.
7 of them, but don't worry. Jack Tuttle has thrown his 3 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. So like I said, that was gonna be one of the ones that I had on my list. So I will go with it because I think even you said previously, anytime you pick a defense to score, although I've picked specific guys to score, which is the difference here. I don't know.
Picking a specific guy to score, that's when you're in a multiple point territory.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think I've ever made you pick a specific guy for 1 point.
We'll see. I don't want to go back to the tapes, but yeah, no, I will allow it. I think you shouldn't expect a defense to score, and so if they do, I mean, they're not supposed to. That's so okay. I will allow that one. Let me jot that one down. I seem to have missed one. That was your 5th one.
That was my 5th one.
Okay, so I've got you more than twice for Henderson over Carr, 3.75 times yards per play for IU, less than 197 yards passing for IU. What was the one I missed?
220.
Oh, of course.
The classic.
I should just, that's your RST, LN, and E. I should have just put that there.
Except RST, LN, and E sometimes show up in puzzles. So it's not a great.
Sure. That's right. Yeah. This is your XYZWP.
Sir, we've never had a sigma in one of these puzzles in 40 years. Van is just spitting in my direction.
This here is a picture of a cloud. Okay, here's one for you, Tom. And when I say this, you're going to be like, no way. And then I'm going to tell you why it's okay. As I've said for all 5 of my bold predictions. Ohio State will have
no way.
Hear me out. Ohio State will have a 100-yard rusher and receiver. Now, have they done that before? Yes. However, Tom, do you know how many 100-yard rushers Indiana has allowed this season?
Well, counting the one that they're going to allow on Saturday, I'm guessing 2.
They have allowed 0.
Okay.
Do you know how many 100-yard receivers they have allowed this season? The answer is also 0. So I am saying for the first time ever, Tom, Indiana is going to allow a 100-yard rusher this season. And for the first time ever, Tom, Ohio State or Indiana is going to allow a 100-yard receiver. Boom. Same game. Doubling up.
How many games has Ohio State had a 100-yard rusher and 100-yard receiver in a game this season?
I don't know if that information is available.
It feels like the answer is probably a bunch. Because Ohio State has run for more than 200 yards in 1, 2, 3, 4 games.
Well, TreVeyon Henderson has had 2 100-yard rushing games, and Ryan Williams has had 1.
Okay, so half of the time,
maybe 3 times. We don't know that they've had any receivers in those games. I mean, I could look it up, but do people really want to listen to that? Do we have looking up music?
I think it's safe to say that they have probably had a 100-yard receiver in pretty much every game this season. I think that's probably fairly safe to say. So I'll because this is a 1 point, and in the spirit of the fact that you and I have to sit in a car together this weekend, I'm going to allow this one, but I'm going to need it to be 110 yards for each.
Well, let me just look, because Garrett Wilson did it against Akron and Oregon. Chris Olave did it against Minnesota, Oregon, Rutgers, and Maryland. So we just have Tulsa here to worry about. Did Jackson Smith and Jigba catch for 100 yards against Tulsa? Drum roll says he did not. 2 for 33.
Yeah.
So
they've done it. So they've accomplished it. Because Jackson Smith and Jigba had 1 100-yard game.
2. He also had 1 against Oregon and Maryland. So
we're at what, 9?
But only 5 games. I'm saying a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And we know for a fact they haven't had a 100-yard receiver in every game. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this every game against Indiana, they will, mm-hmm. and also a 100-yard rusher, which they've only had 3 of.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to come down off my previous software and say 108 yards.
106.
All right, sounds like 107 it is.
Should have gone 104. No, I'm going to have to go 103. That way we can let's say 105. What do you say?
107 it is.
106, and if the receiver only gets 80, it counts.
If he catches the ball in his helmet, it counts.
So let's go 104.
107.
I'm going to stick at 105. Unless you want to go 106. I'm not going to give you 107. It's too high. Too high.
106.
All right. Begrudgingly, I would give you that. Okay, Tom. Oh, now we are into bonus territory.
Yeah, we're into bonus territory.
I feel pretty good about mine. What do you got?
Okay. This is a twofer. This is a 2-parter. Indiana does not score a touchdown in the red zone. They're 12 of 24 in the red zone this season. And Ohio State scores a touchdown every time they're in the red zone. So Ohio State goes touchdown every time they're in the red zone. Indiana does not score a touchdown in the red zone. Both of those have to hit for it to be a 2-pointer.
I'm not even going to argue that. That's pretty good. That's out of the box. That's what the show is about. It's not about
whatever you're about to say. Yeah.
Right. That's what this is about, being bold. This is like this is something that the fall guy would appreciate, being a stunt man and solving crimes. He'd be like, you know what? I like this one. And he would say like, you know what? I like this one. So I will give you that one time. I will allow it. My 2-point bonus. Here we go. See what you have to say. Somebody other than C.J. Stroud throws a touchdown of at least 20 yards. Look,
so don't for Ohio State.
Yes.
Just want to be clear.
Yes.
Someone other than C.J. Stroud throws a touchdown of more than 20 yards for Ohio State.
At least 20 yards.
More than 20 yards. That's
more than 19.
I will allow someone other than C.J. Stroud throws a touchdown of more than 20 yards. That's a great one, Tony. I'm very proud of you for picking an actually bold one. That was good. And I'll even give you 2 points for it. Let's compromise. I'll give you 2 points for that one.
It's a 2-pointer, Tom, and it's really going to bother me if they throw like a triple reverse and it's from the 20. But for the sake of the show, we got to entertain the people. Of more than 20 yards.
We still get to talk to Ryan Day again. Use your question during the lightning round on Thursday. Ryan, if you're going to run a trick play with the pass from someone other than CJ Stroud, could you run that from the 21-yard line or out?
Please, for the sake of the show. Okay, we got our 3-pointers here, Tom. I'm going to have to, I'm already going to dispute yours and ask for something higher. So just go ahead and
this is pretty bold. This is pretty bold. Indiana has had 17 of their 26 kickoffs either for touchbacks or out of bounds this year. 17 to 26. So they've only had 9 returnable kickoffs all year. We've already established we don't think Indiana is going to score a lot of touchdowns, so they're probably not going to be a lot of kick return opportunities. Tony Emeka Egbuka returns a kickoff for a touchdown. First time for Ohio State since 2010.
Returns 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. No, of course. Yes, I'm going to accept that. We have both predicted that will happen. That was part of our last week's our bonus, our bold second half predictions. And so, sure, and we could both be right. That's what everybody wants, for both of us to get all of our picks right. Yay! So yes, I will allow that. And really, I wonder at what point they stop kicking to him. If it's just like, you know what, squib it, kick it high so he'll fair catch it. But they just seem to be getting more aggressive and more aggressive. So if you're going to call for a kickoff return for a touchdown, Tom, you deserve 3 points for that. So I commend you for the only time, perhaps in the history of the show. I hope you wear this with pride and tell your family, and maybe change. I don't know if you can make a statement in your Twitter avatar, but you probably should.
What I'm really excited for is, because I said Emeka Egbuka, it's going to be like, oh, nope, Xavier Johnson returned a kickoff for a touchdown.
And also, Tom, returning an onside kick for a touchdown doesn't count because you've already told me that.
I have, yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah. When Emeka Egbuka is not going to be up there returning onside kicks. So,
gosh, I'm wondering, like, what happens. We saw it twice last week where a player dives for the end zone and fumbles the ball out of the end zone for a touchback. Oh, man. And I don't want to wish ill on a kid. But
have we talked about the picture of the photographer in Buffalo who's like celebrating behind the touchdown?
No.
That it was an NFL game like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And I think it was one of the Bills scored a touchdown. And there's a photographer in the back who's not doing his job and shooting photos of this touchdown. He's like celebrating, like, yay! And that will be the exact opposite of me if Emeka Egbuka is like reaching for the end zone and then fumbles out of the end zone.
You'll just
why do I have pictures of that? Well, also I broke my camera when I threw it on the ground.
Like, you'll be able to see like pictures from elsewhere. Like, Tom, why are you berating that poor child? Like, why are you in his face yelling and pointing his finger?
The first person to grab a face mask at Ohio State, Woody Lays left campus. It's me. There you go. Yeah.
Boy, that would be fun. My last one, my 3-pointer, Tom, and it's right up your wheelhouse here. The Ohio State defense and special teams outscore Indiana's offense.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. It does.
Now, as you think about it, you're like,
now I'm working through in my head the scenarios in which somehow that happens, but you get your 3 points and none of mine hit somehow. That seems like it's going to be like, they did it, but it was a Garrett Wilson punt return touchdown. And I have the Ohio State defense scoring points, so I get at least 1 for that. Well, unless Garrett Wilson has a punt return touchdown and someone returns an onside kick for a touchdown.
I'm thinking also Noah Ruggles, 7 field goals.
Oh, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I should have never said anything, but
that doesn't count. Not field goals, not extra points. No,
not extra points, of course, but field goals. How about no more than 1 field goal tacked onto the total there? You got to give me 1. You didn't even know it was a thing. I let you know that was a thing.
You did.
You had to reward me with that. 1 field goal. I mean, all right.
All right, one field goal. All right, I will give you one
and 3 extra points.
No, 1 field goal or 3 extra points.
You know what? Okay,
no.
I
I take that back. No, just 1 field goal. Nope, 1 field goal.
All right. Okay, I will take that 1 field goal. 1 field goal allotted.
Why is Tom running on the field to block a field goal? Well, it's complicated. Have you heard of Buckeye Weekly?
It's a very complicated show for the simple person. All right, Tom. I think that'll do it. I think we all feel pretty good about. I think there's some increased boldness this week for one of us, and then of course you had your typical show, your typical bold predictions. So good for you to just staying consistent there and just really giving the listeners what they want. Just a big square punch to the jaw, and that's what you get for caring, listeners. Tom just gives you the weakest boldness that you could ever ask for. And please tweet at him about it. I love those, just so you know. Thank you for doing that. But that will do it for today's show. We'll see how things go. As always, we do love the interaction when you let us know how we are doing and how poorly we are also doing on these bold predictions. I like it that it's not just me invested in this and not just you invested in this. People care that we get stuff wrong. So, that's what we're here for. So we want to thank you all for tuning in as always. And you can find us at BuckeyeScoop.com. You can also find us at YouTube.com/BuckeyeScoop. And we will end up talking to you guys tomorrow.